Let's start off with the CBS Clip first.
Oh, Jesus.
All right.
I love it.
So we just started off. So this is CBS. They're interviewing Kamala. They're being asked a question about, she's being asked a question about Netanyahu. The actual answer was leaked, but then there is the edited answer that they released to you and I. Rob, go ahead and play the clip.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
Well, Bill, the work that we have done has resulted in a number of movements in that region by Israel that were very much prompted by or a result of many things, including our advocacy for what needs to happen in the region.
But it seems that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not listening.
We're not going to stop pursuing what is necessary for the United States to be clear about where we stand on the need for this war to end.
So I got a question. And I just want to go straight to it. Is there anything wrong with CBS editing the answers to be tighter because they're still solving for advertisers? Or should they just put whatever's out there knowing it's less entertaining versus a tighter thing? Tom, what do you think?
Well, it's one thing to shorten an answer and maybe if it's a little repetitive, like somebody says something and then at the end they say, so that's the reason I feel this way. And they take that part out so it's a shorter answer. So it's for broadcast length. That happens all the time. It happens in sports. You have a guy after the game and they ask the player something. He gives them a long answer and the first half of it is what they use. But that doesn't affect the substance and the accuracy, more importantly, of what the person said. Well, I think what CBS did is they committed the cardinal sin. They're editing for, likability and polish. When you're trying to polish the subject of an interview, that's a hell of a lot different from just shortening an answer so that it fits in the broadcast.
I personally, Pat, because we haven't heard her, everything from her is canned. Everything from her is so fake. Like even yesterday when they were doing the hurricane briefing, her staffers, she got caught. Her staffers were giving her the question. She had to cover up her mouth. She's telling them.
I'm on a live podcast.
Is this the one?
This is it, Pat. Yeah, this is it.
Rob.
Flood, we really got to watch those areas and those communities. So it takes quite a while for that water to drain.
And they're giving her a question.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Ken, I have a question for you. You mentioned words matter, and I know there's a lot of media following this briefing.
Yeah, but by the way, so to answer your question, I don't like it. I want her, we want to hear her sit there and speak. Just like Trump's going on these podcasts. Trump is sitting in front of Andrew Schultz with the whole crew and just going in. I want to hear as much as her and her nonsense as possible, and I want her to be exposed. But I mean, CBS, think about it, PPD, they're all leftists. Every CBS, ABC, MSNBC, they're all trying to protect her.
He did a great job.
He did amazing.
What was his name again?
Bill Whitaker.
It's not Bill Withers. That's Ain't No Sunshine.
Ain't no sunshine when she
No, is it Bill?
Ain't no truth.
Bill Whitaker.
Bill Whitaker.
Yeah, which great job. But here's my question, guys.
Bill Withers.
Just a little bit off. Do you think that he had to tell her? Did she know those questions were coming? Do you think?
I don't know, because her face was very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
She did not look comfortable in this interview. I don't want to throw 60 minutes on. I actually thought, to be honest, I think this was the best interview done on her
so far
by anybody and everybody. Watch this. Go to Flip Side with the Call Her Daddy podcast with Alex Cooper, right? They showed how that podcast, after 3 days, got some 480,000 views, and how Andrew Schultz's podcast with Trump, after 8 hours, got 500,000 views. People are not interested in Kamala. She's boring, okay? They're just not. People were interested in Bill Clinton. People were interested in Obama. People were interested in even Pete Buttigieg. I know that sounds weird.
Yeah.
People were interested in Andrew Yang at the time when he was talking about UBI.
Yeah, of course.
She's just not interesting, because if I ask you the following, watch this, Tom. I want you to think about this. Ready? I'm going to give a name, and I want you to think about a unique policy that only represented that candidate.
Okay.
You ready? Andrew Yang.
UBI.
Okay, perfect. Obama.
Universal big.
Obamacare.
National health care.
Obama. Clinton.
Monica Lewinsky.
Cigars.
Other than that,
no.
peace and
Cigars.
prosperity.
National
He balanced the
health
budget.
care. National
Balanced the
health care. He
budget.
did the State of the Union address and he held up a card. This will be your health care card. That was his banner for that first term.
Romney.
Mitt Romney.
Ooh. Is Mitt
Watch what happens. Right there. Vanilla.
Just a little vanilla.
Benghazi would be the only thing, but that's not a policy.
Yeah.
No, that was
That's
a debate
crisis.
point. Right.
Exactly. If I go to Trump, what would you say?
Border,
America first.
economy. Oh my
Jobs
God.
in America.
NATO, a
border.
lot.
Okay.
America for everything.
Lock her up.
If you go to Biden, who do you say?
Ice cream.
I'm not Trump.
That's right. If you go to Kamala, what do you say?
I'm not Biden.
I was
policy
born
was
in
the
a
border.
middle-class family.
Nothing
middle
with
class.
Kamala. I don't know
Grew up with a middle
anything.
If you go to DeSantis, what do you say?
Ooh, yeah, conservative principles.
It's basically Trump life.
Further conservative.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the point is, there's never, ever been a more vanilla, and I know this sounds weird to say this because,
Yeah.
there's never been a more vanilla candidate than Kamala Harris. Never.
Well, yeah,
There's never
because-
been more boring vanilla candidate that nobody is looking forward to hearing what she has to say because it's not unique than her.
And,
Well,
and
think
and
about
she
it.
has
This is the
nothing.
first candidate who had never went through a primary. She didn't have to do what Trump did in 2015, 2016 when he had to go boom, 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 and knock down the entire establishment. This was the exact opposite. This was the establishment saying, all right, Kamala, you're up. Joe's out, you're in. And you talked about comfortable on CBS, right?
Yeah.
How she looked a little uncomfortable. Well, good. You're supposed to be a little uncomfortable. You know, the whole saying, your comfort zone will kill you. Every single podcast she's done or every single interview she's done has been comfortable. Even Call Her Daddy. You're going to call her daddy. You think that she's going to give her pressing questions? This was the first interview where they actually challenged her. And now they're saying that's basically the demise of Kamala. I don't know what this is. Apparently, I don't know. Why are they editing? What are they moving out? I don't know. We don't know the answer to it. But if you can say one thing about Trump, this guy will go anywhere, anytime, with any person. Schultz, Theo Vaughn, he'll go to CNN. He went town hall, Caitlin Collins. Trump will show up anywhere.
Yeah.
The comfort zone ain't killing him. He's gonna go he's gonna go fight for what he believes.
But,
Her,
to,
she's
but
not
to,
though.
to go to that brand, the fact that Obama thought she was the right candidate to pick. Obama, they say this is his pick.
Him and Pelosi was like the second in
Right.
the wings.
But they saying this is his pick, right? There is nothing marketable with her to tell. Like, for example, years ago, before I started a YouTube channel, I go to this man named Bill Vogel. And I said, Bill, I'm thinking about starting a channel and sharing some of my content of what's worked for me. He said, be careful doing it. I said, why is that? He says, because most people run out of content. I said, what a feedback. He says, if you do, some of that content you could have sold, now you can't because you're going to run out. I'm like, I don't think I'm ever going to run out of content.
Yeah.
Because I'm engaged. But he was right. Most people do run out of content. Most people do their 15 episodes. It does well. Then they just keep saying
Recycling
the same thing.
stuff.
Because there's nothing else, right? Very few people can stay fresh telling stories. Trump will never run out of content.
Ever.
Obama's not going to run out of content.
Nope.
Okay? There's certain people that are not, that she's just,
Hillary has been out of content since she opened her mouth. Like she has not.
by the way,
like,
you know her book comes out? Okay? This is the former, what title? should we-
Secretary of State.
Secretary of
Okay.
State.
First,
What else?
Madam, whatever. She's a
Do you know
Nominated.
how
prime.
many copies she sold her book last week? First week, how many copies it sold?
1,000 copies.
Please tell me 2,000.
No. It's guys, typically it's like a few 100,000 copies first week. Her book, first week, 27,000 copies.
Oh,
What's the precedent for something
Something
like that?
lost, something gained.
I would use that
She
for
lost the election. Yeah,
Yeah, well,
I would use that to
unfortunately
start
for her,
fires in the fireplace.
she's almost irrelevant at this point. Like,
well, she,
But they keep
she
toting her up.
keeps putting herself in there.
well, of course,
on
because you
that.
have to
But-
stay relevant.
But the main point is, and this goes to say business owners if you're watching this, okay? Guy wants to start a podcast. I'm doing my consulting calls yesterday, and one of the guys is like, I'm a divorce attorney, and he does very well for himself, okay? And he made $3 million last year as a divorce attorney. So then I go to his channel, and he doesn't have anything that's gone yet. But he's a talker, great storyteller. I enjoyed listening to him telling stories. I said, I'm thinking, why isn't none of this guy's stuff taken off yet? But there's another guy named James Sexton. Do you know James Sexton? Go search his name on YouTube. I guarantee you're going to know who he is
Okay.
the moment you look him up. James Sexton, go on YouTube. Okay, this guy.
I know he is.
He's a divorce attorney, okay? You know how many interviews he's done that have in the millions of views? You know why? He tells the most unique stories. And I asked him a question. I said, how many divorces have you been a part of? He said 5,000. I said, how many of them did you have to mediate? Kind of like Wedding Crashers mediate.
Yeah.
And he says,
You get some air miles, I'll get some air miles.
you can throw some this way.
Throw some out, whatever.
Yeah, he says maybe a couple hundred. I said, what's the richest family's divorce you did? And he's given it to me. I said, what are the top 5 things that you see coming up in the mediations? He tells me the reasons. Who gets the kids? When? Where do the parents live? Educational decisions. Who makes it? He's given me the reasons for divorces.
Wow.
Right when I'm having this conversation with him. Then I said, how many times did a client come to you that's filing a divorce with their husband or wife and they ended up going back and being happily married? He's like, oh, many, many times. These are interesting stories they should tell. If your brand has nothing that's interesting, no one cares. There's nothing interesting about Kamala Harris. It's unfortunate because she's actually attractive. She actually looks good. It's appealing she's not unattractive. She's very attractive to look at. If you notice, Trump can't make fun of her looks. He has not made fun of her looks because she's not unattractive. But she's boring. And that is by far more unattractive than anything else. You go on a date. Like we're role-playing with Tico last night. Imagine you're on a date with her. You ask her a question. So, what's your favorite movie? Okay. Well, Tico, I grew up in a middle-class family.
With a lawn.
When we were kids, and I'm like, oh my God. You know, Tico's like, I'm sorry, I got a call from Vinny. Crisis happened. I got to leave. Right? But the point is, you can't be this boring. I don't know if I've ever seen a candidate more boring. Honestly, name a candidate more boring than Kamala. I want you to actually think about it. Michael Bloomberg, was he boring?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Would you put him more boring than Kamala? He at least had some stuff that he did. The guy was a mayor of New York City and he crushed it.
Yeah, because
the guy's worth $100 billion.
Yeah, and he was smart. And
but give me the most boring candidate of your lifetime that actually was chosen, like Democrat or Republican.
like a Jeb Bush.
Well, I can tell you what it was. It was Michael Dukakis. I was still young, and here comes this candidate, and you're waiting for him to say something, and he's running against George Herbert Walker Bush Senior, and you want to talk about boring?
This is 88.
He came out of a tank. Didn't he come out of a tank?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was shocking that the lack of anything substantive to say. And you sit there and you would look at it and saying, this is one of our 2 choices. I remember thinking that back then, saying, what an incredibly boring guy.
And you know
and
why?
then in California, I'll give you one. It was Gray Davis. Gray Davis somehow, because of the Democrat majority, gets elected governor. And he did such a horrible job that he was recalled 2 years later and shot out of the cannon. But he was also not only boring, there was no vision.
I think there's a lot of
no
boring
story.
Candidates. Here's the difference. I think there's a lot of boring candidates. I mean, I think of Al Gore when he lost in 2000. I can think of Mitt Romney. I can think of a couple other
I didn't
candidates.
think Romney was that boring. Not at the level of Kamala.
Okay, but the difference between Kamala is she could actually win. Why? Because of the DEI mantra. I mean,
machines behind her.
If they win this election, it's because of one thing. It's because the women, single liberal women, are overwhelmingly breaking towards Kamala. I mean, the numbers are shocking.
But we're talking about boring. Do you remember?
Yeah, but that's part of the boring. That's part of it is that they don't care about policy. They don't care about substance. They care about my body, my choice, and abortion, and that's their choice.
Well, that's voting blocks. But I mean, it goes back to a candidate
that's
being
the
boring
difference.
Or not.
Yeah,
that's the difference in this election. But she can win.
But here's the thing:
Romney couldn't win.
But here's the thing: why? Because I'm going back to how did Kamala get to this? If we hear all the rumors and all the things about Willie Brown and everything, she got to this point with no substance, no nothing. If you guys ever saw her during like the Brett Kavanaugh hearings, all those, by the way, your aides are writing all that stuff that you're yelling and you're talking all that crap. And now, by the way, did you think that she thought she was going to be running, like she was going to be the front runner for the presidency? Absolutely not. Listen. Joe tanked and they went, oh my God, he's cooked. Kamala, she
played the game.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly.
Sometimes your best ability is your availability. She just stayed available.
Yeah.
and waited for Joe Biden to basically croak.
I'm fighting through the jungle here. Trying to ask Pat's question. She refused to do the what was his name? Al Wilson presidential debate that's sponsored by the Archdiocese of New York.
Yes.
Remember how funny it was when Romney and Obama did it? It was actually really funny.
Is it sort of like the comedic thing?
Yeah, no. It's every year. I think it's Al Wilson.
Yeah, it's the one where Trump says, Hillary bumped into me, and I said, oh, and then she said, pardon me. I said, I'll think about it.
Yeah, exactly. Great.
But then,
That's so funny.
Kamala Harris says, I'm not doing it. Every pair of candidates have done it going back years and years, decades. And she says she's not going to do it. That's because there's no substance. She's a boring candidate.
But by the way, honestly, I'm telling you guys, Hillary Clinton to me was more entertaining than Kamala.
I think so,
because she
too.
was at least a gangster. Like, you're listening to a mafia boss. I'm okay with that, right? When you listen to Romney, you at least want to know, how'd you make $250 million?
Yeah, for sure.
I want to know Staples, all these things that they own with Bain.
Capital.
I want to know. But she is ridiculously boring. Watch this. Here's a race that no one cares about, but some people do. Garvey, I don't know if you guys saw this clip or not, and Schiff are going at it. By the way, Garvey may win. Okay,
hope to
and
God.
watch how he handles himself right at the beginning, going after Schiff. Go ahead, Rob.
Mr. Schiff has been a congressman for 24 years, and we've debated over 3.5 hours prior to this. And over these 24 years, the policy he's going to talk about tonight, the policies, he hasn't been able to do anything about it. Think about this, 24 years addressing existential problems in this country and never being able to cure the problems. And that's why the state is standing up now, its people, and saying it's time for change.
Oh,
Mr. Schiff is
perfect.
By the way, that's not even the one. Rob, go type in Garvey Schiff on Twitter. This is the one I want you to see.
How can you think about one man every day and focus on that when you've got millions of people in California to take care of?
Mr.
I think it's unconscionable. And like I said before, he lied to 300 million people when he was going through that whole process of trying to get Donald Trump impeached.
Mr. Schiff, 30.
How can you think of...
Yeah,
I like that.
He says, you wake up every single morning thinking about one person.
Yep.
There's 20 million people here, 22 million people here, and you don't think about them.
Wow.
All you think about is one person. I'm going to be thinking about the people. And people don't realize who Steve Garvey is, by the way, right?
Oh, the pitcher?
Tom,
That's who's running against him?
It's not Tom. Who is Steve Garvey?
Steve Garvey is National League Rookie of the Year in 1974.
Yeah,
He's one of the
baseball player.
greatest players in Dodger history. He's one of the greatest baseball players. He's just short of the Hall of Fame, but he's beloved in California. He's beloved.
Yeah, he is.
That's
Go ahead,
him?
Tom.
Baseball player.
No, that's him. And now he's running for
He
senator. And
wasn't
by the way,
pitcher, by the way. He said pitcher.
he was a first
This guy
baseman.
got almost 3,000 hits in his career.
Guys, that's my
2,600
bad.
hits.
I just-
Keep going.
And by the way, he was
Baseball
chasing Lou
player,
Gehrig's
pitcher.
record until
Ohtani.
a San Diego incident in San Diego where the catcher broke his thumb sliding into home plate. Otherwise, he had a shot at Lou Gehrig's record.
This is not a regular guy. He was loved. He was a good-looking guy. Look how he is.
Oh, yeah.
He was tough.
Tough. And, I mean, but again, brand. There is things you listen to. His tone is not like this, but there's something there. Kamala is unbelievably boring. So is Schiff. Boring. Boring. Just boring candidates, left and right. Boring. Constantly. Election night, we're putting the biggest party nationwide at a new property we just bought. If you haven't yet bought your tickets, get your tickets and come down. I wish I could tell you all the surprises we got that night. We're going to do grand opening. We're going to do the whole, what do you call it when it's the
shovel?
The shovel with the breaking ground.
Breaking ground.
We're going to reveal and show stuff we've never shown before, especially to some of you guys that want to be super VIPs. To the super VIPs that want to network with other super VIPs. We're going to treat you royally that night, okay? Rob, just play the clip on what's going to be happening on election night for you to come and join us. Play this clip from the new building that we just got a week and a half ago. I'm there every day. Dylan yesterday going 27 miles an hour in his car, having a blast. But go ahead, Rob, play the clip.
Okay, I got a big announcement to make, and the good news is you're the first to know, and you'll be the first to be invited. So the property I'm on right now, we've been working on buying this property for the last 3 years. It's one of its last kind in America. Why? It's on 11 acres. It's got 2 hangars. It's on an airport. upgrades of $7 million made here. That's going to be the new headquarters of Valuetainment, Menek, David Consulting, the podcast, the whole nine. And what we wanted to do in a special way that you're going to hear about this 2 days before I announce it publicly on the PVD podcast, we want to find a way to celebrate this as a new headquarters with inviting you to an event on November 5th, which is election night. A lot of different things people will be talking about, business owners. What's going to happen if it goes this way? What's going to happen if it goes that way? So imagine 2,000 people being here. Let me show you around. Some of you will have a private meeting with me. That's the elite. That's going to be a few of you. Some will get a private tour of the entire office from us. There's a hangar in the back. So you come up here. Imagine there's going to be a couple major tents, 40 feet by 100 feet, where some of the people that are buying general tickets will be there. But over here inside the hangar is where the podcast will be held. This entire thing will be open like it is right now. Inside of it, myself, the PBD podcast crew, some of the super VIPs will be invited to go upstairs in a section that we have that's got a bar, a restaurant, food, kitchen. You're eating, you're watching it from all the way up there while we're doing the podcast down here in the hangar. So imagine in this room, there's 1,000 people, right? While we're going through this whole thing. Conversation, it's going to be from 6 p.m. is when it starts, all the way up to 2 o'clock in the morning. Who knows? Maybe we'll go 3, 4 o'clock in the morning because a lot of things that's going to be going on. And by the way, do you know why we're not cutting this? We're on an airport. These are planes. We have to hear because right here is the airport. And FYI, Messi plays right there at that stadium right behind us. So you got 48 hours before I announce this publicly. There's 5 ticket tiers that you can purchase. Each one's got more things to offer. But even locally, there's general tickets to buy for just $75. Bring your wife, bring your husband, bring your family, bring your friends. There's one caveat after you buy the ticket. When you buy the ticket and you come on November 5th, you have to wear Future Looks Bright gear. I'm talking Future Looks Bright hat, a shirt, doesn't matter. You're gonna have to show I got some kind of Future Looks Bright gear because we want everybody here to spread the message and the energy of optimism around the world, back to their states, wherever you're going to be. So November 5th, click on the link above or below, get registered. And if you're watching this saying, well, Pat, I like to travel private. Can I bring my private jet here? 5 of you guys will be after you buy your ticket. Then you can ask us, and that's only available to the tickets at the highest level possible to bring your jet and park it here. So having said that, get your tickets, and I cannot wait to see you November 5th, 6 p.m. at our new headquarters in Fort Lauderdale. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye, bye-bye.
It's going to be freaking awesome.
It's gonna
I'm
be
going.
crazy. Yeah.
I'm going.
And by the way, I wish I could say all the guests that are going to be there. I don't want to say it because part of it is also suspense, surprise. But there's going to be you're going to be. What are you doing here? Yeah. Oh my God! Look at this. Let me take a picture with it. It's going to be wild. Bring your family. Bring your friends. We're going to have a good time. Anyway, so we are 25 days away from that day. I cannot wait.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.